and Nigeria, as one of the nations in the world, must toe the path of peace and tranquility if we develop properly and at the rate we will want. And very important set of people that this peace should be encouraged around is the young people. So that's why it's become important that the issue of skills development and peace for the growth of the country must be married together, especially when young people are involved. So it's important for us to do that.
Now, I understand from what you said, Nigeria has come to terms with the place of skills. But how do you think more youth can be made to understand this trend?
It's important because youths all over the world know that having certain skills gives them advantage in the marketplace. But it's one thing to know, it's another thing to really apply yourself and value this skill set. So there is need for more advocacy for the need for skills, and there's need for also for our educational system to find a way of marrying in the need to value skill set more than just certificates that does not produce any skills for the young people in the workplace. So for us at the National Productivity Center, part of what we do in promoting productivity consciousness is to expose this gap that we have identified in our society, which is the attitudinal gap, the knowledge gap, and most important, the skills gap. So we encourage and expose some of the things they need to know about these gaps and how to close them. So that's also in a way of trying to help the young people understand what these skills is all about.
Now, when you say attitudinal gap, what exactly are you talking about here?
You see, it's possible to have the best skills. I want to talk about something about ability and expertise. But it's one thing to have that ability, it's another thing to use that ability for results and for gains. It boils down to the attitude of the individuals. And for us, productivity is a mindset, it's a mentality. So once the mindset is wrong, even with the skills, you have wrong results. So it begins with that attitudinal mindset. So we always talk about that mindset of continuous improvement, making sure you are better tomorrow than today in the way you apply yourself to solving daily problems and solving workplace problems. So if the attitude is wrong, then you have problems with that individual using the skills properly. So it begins with closing the attitudinal gap, then the knowledge gap, then we get to the skills gap. So for us, skills is the last phase of having a full developed worker or individual that wants to really achieve things with his skills.
Okay, having said that, now, how important is vocational training equipping, young people with practical skills for the job market? Because just like you said, it's good to equip them and make them, have skills. But quite a lot of persons you see, like in our universities, you see a lot of.
The most important thing is to have a skill set, an ability that can transfer value. Because when we talk about money exchanging hands in the marketplace, it's payment for value created. So at the end of the day, what can you do? How can you create or add value? That is the only way you can have exchange of resources for it. So every youth, every young person needs a skill that can be paid for. That's how you contribute to the economy. So it's one thing to, if a friend told me that our education is more of English and linguistics, but it's time to actually value these vocational skills and encourage them. In Japan, with your opening statement, talk about the Asian tigers. In Japan, they certify skills. So, and they grade skills depending on the province where you are. So you can have a certificate with a number of how best you are in that particular skills. As low as welding, you'll be graded. So it's not just having skills, it's having skills that are effective, that you use effective and efficiently.
And
they are marketable. So that's very important also, that you must have skills that are marketable and are needed in the marketplace. But the best thing that can contribute to our economy and to the individual lives is skills. Every young person needs a skill.
Now, what is your own center doing to ensure that we change the narrative, from people shifting from, paper certificate, presenting paper certificate, then what are you doing to change it, those skills, for them to acquire skills?
We are doing a lot, especially when it has to do with the young people. And we graded the youth at the age grade, and we were engaging them from the secondary school level to the NYC stage. And for the secondary school level, we have a program called Productivity Coaching and Mentoring, where we start exposing them to these various kind of skills that would define how far and how well they go in life, beyond the certificates. Certificates don't work. It's people that work. So, and your certificates must be a reflection of what you are able to do, which is the skills, the ability, the expertise. And so we taught them there are soft skills, there are technical skills, there are workplace skills, there are problem-solving skills. If you don't have all these varieties of skills, you will never do well in the marketplace, and that's the truth. So it's one thing to graduate with a first class. It's another thing for that first class to give you the impetus to add value in the workplace and in the marketplace. So we encourage them. So through this program, we also establish productivity clubs. In those clubs, we have nodal officer. I'm a nodal officer for 5 secondary schools in Abuja here. So my students know me, and every week and bi-weekly, depending on when is their club day, I hold sessions with them and take them through various kind of skills and how to acquire them. Some that we can transfer, we do. Others will bring experts that can help transfer. But that they should know that there is more to just education than certificate. It's about what we call certificate, what you can do. Certificate. Yes, like what you can do, certificate. What exactly can you do? And on most interview tables, the first most important questions to them is, what can you do? Not how many certificates, how many masters, what can you do? So yes, we want them to be sure that the things they can do.
Because we are going beyond that level of how many degrees you have to how many, what can you offer to the organization?
To the organization.
To better the organization.
Exactly. So it's important.
Okay, we're going to take a short break now and listen to a press session of Nigerians on, what they think about harnessing young, skills for national development. That's put together by Thomas Ogbetere. Don't go away.
Well, having a skill is ideal because as a person, you should have a skill that you can make or generate income from. Because of how the economy is unstable, you cannot rely on having a job or a single source of income. Having multiple streams of income is advisable.
So it's still important to learn a skill, even though you have graduated.
You have to learn like a training, a work, a skill, in order for you to be able to do all those things, because sometimes the white-collar job might not just help out.
Certificate is good, but present Nigeria, we know how the economy is and we know how hard it is to get a job. So I'll advise everybody to go for a skill. A skill is very important, even if it's tailoring, barbing. There are lots of skills for you to learn out there.
Learning a skill is not really the most comfortable way, but it's like the best way for you to be comfortable. When you learn a skill, you can use that skill to make it your source of income and all. So it's very important to learn a skill.
Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, this is Nigeria Today, and we're looking at harnessing youth skills for national development. And of course, I have a young man from the National Productivity Center, Victor Noko. Now, Victor, you heard what one of the respondents there said. He said multiple streams of income. Now, I was even when she said that, something came to my mind. I said, like, for those that are working, the young people that are working, a lot of them are not even able to make ends meet, even with the income they are making. So, is there an opportunity for the working class to get, trained, get a skill?
Definitely, there's an opportunity. And especially when it comes to technical and vocational skills, there's an opportunity for the working class. It's easy to learn coding and programming and develop apps that people pay for. For a working class, you can do that. For the vocational skills, they mentioned a lot. Baking, catering, there's a lot that you can do. And, of course, more income. But one thing also that they talked about white-collar job. The truth is, the value that you have in the workplace when it comes to white-collar job is based on the skill set that you have. And so, if you come into an organization, you will notice that there are almost 3 groups of people. And you can group them clearly. There are those that are valuable to the organizations. And most times, it's because of the skills that they have, either technical or problem-solving skills. In organizations, they live to solve problems. There will be people who have systemic thinking and they can have analytical thinking sets, people who generate ideas that solve problems. And there are tools and techniques in the center that we use to help people generate ideas or solve problems. This is not a normal skill. Not everybody can think out solutions for problems. And so once you're a solution in the organization, your value increases. And a lot of things come with that value, including promotions and all you can think of. So even working in the white collar job, if you don't have skill sets that are valuable and add value to the system, you'll be a problem to the system. So everyone needs, whether soft, technical, vocational, workplace, problem solving, we all need the skills. But vocational skills are very attractive when it comes to trading in the marketplace.
Now, the world over today, they're talking about, like I said earlier, they're talking about peace and skills for peace and development. Now, how will you relate it to Nigeria? How can these, learning skills, by the young people bring about peace and stability in the country?
You see, one of the greatest thing we believe that God has done for mankind is the ability to engage in work. And work is not just, like we say, is a value added system where your mind, your body, everything is engaged in improving either a product or a process. Now, the period of working is healthy to the human soul and mind. Now, those that don't work, they have a problem in their mind and in their soul. And this affects how they reason and how they relate. So beyond wages and salaries and remunerations, work heals the mind and the human body. And so in the local magazine, they will tell you that an idle mind is the devil's workshop. All they are simply telling is that once your mind and your body is not engaged in work, there's a possibility that you can also be engaged in something that is anti-peace and anti-development. So work is actually a solution to solving the issues of peace. When people are engaged in productive and profitable ventures, they are more responsible. But once they are not, then you can have vices. So if they are skillful enough and they are engaged in using those skills, you take them off vices that will lead to unrest and situations that will allow peace to erode the society.
Yes, it's one thing to have the skill, another thing to use it.
Yes.
Because a lot of persons learned a lot of things, but they're not using it. They'll tell you, I know how to do this, I know how to do this, but they are not really, using it. How do we encourage people to use the skills they have acquired over time?
The first is to create an environment and a market that will encourage them to use the skills. Because if the environment is not conducive and the market is not there, you might as well allow the skills to lie low. So, but once you create that, it will encourage them to use the skill. Another thing is to also tell them about productivity, and that's our message. Productivity is that every resource that you have, from skill sets to knowledge to time, you ought to apply them and see how you can uplift your status and yourself. That's the first thing.
In other words, how you can make money from them.
Make money from them. How you can make sure that you earn something from them. But if you have the resources, the time, even social network is a resource. So if you don't use all of this, then it's a waste. And productivity has waste. Waste is the greatest enemy to productivity. Waste of time, waste of resources, waste of knowledge, waste of skills, even waste of certificates. People said, I've been trained and certified in this, I've not used it for the past 5 years. That's waste. So the time you spent and the money you spent to get that certification is waste.
Indeed.
And so productivity does not like waste. So we find way to encourage them. And most of our awareness lectures and campaign on productivity, that's what we do. What are the skill set that you have? What is that skill that you have? Bring it out. Use it to help yourself and the society. And of course, contribute to the GDP of Nigeria. That's the message we take out. Because the truth is, in terms of productivity, Nigeria is not there. And hard work is not actually productivity. Because like you said, you can be skilled and you're not using it.
You're not using it.
So it does not.
You cry of hunger.
And you cry of hunger, so it does not add up.
Now, we've talked so much about what, the government, from the government angle. Now, how can the private sector, how can their partnership enhance, the development of your skills?
Very important. The private sector, I would say, is one of the greatest beneficiary of skills sets in the country. Because most of the manufacturing companies and other enterprises, they feed on these skills. So there is a need for vocational centers to start partnering deliberately with the private sector, where they help design the skills that is needed in the marketplace in the private sector. And these partnerships will help people so that when they get the skills, there is a place to use the skill. And there's a place that needs the skill in terms of payment for the skill. So, and the vocational centers, I believe from our last study, are not really having the right support in terms of funding, facility, and training. And I think private sector can come in to really support the government in helping them grow better and, of course, supply the skill set that they need for the manufacturer. There are a lot of skills that is needed in the production space. We know we interface with companies in consultancy and we see the gap. They said so skill is needed, only so amount of persons have it in so place. Why not train other people to have such skills?
Now, talking about training other persons, now what measures can be put in place to ensure that every youth, regardless of their background, regardless of their status, have equal opportunity, of acquiring these skills?
The first is the government has a role to play there, where they will have to look into the policies and see how they create a system where every youth for a skill. I'm aware of such a program coming up. I was in a meeting, I think last week, with my Director General, and the Minister of State for Youth and Sports was already coming up with that system and is being digitalized. For every Nigerian youth that does not have a marketable skill, you can register there and select the skill, they take you to a center and you get it. Those are the kind of programs that should be encouraged both by the government and supported by the private sector, whereby you are out of the higher institution. The question is, which skill do you have that is marketable? If there is none, then you need to register now, and make sure you get that. Sorry,
I will have to cut you. You talked about marketable skill. How do you know the one that is very marketable and the one that is not marketable?
You will
because know. Some youth, they just feel, okay, my friend is doing this. I also want to join my friend and do this. Or this one is trendy and all of that. But, you just said marketable. So how do we know
marketable skills are skills that are sought after in the marketplace. And especially when the availability of the skills is very scarce. So there's a need to carry out their study and ask questions. There are institutions in the country that will provide answers to these questions. Even in the center, we carry out study on skill sets, so we can provide such answers. A lot of time, they look at technical skills, ICT skills, and they'll tell you it's marketable, yes. But there are other skills that are needed in the manufacturing sector of the economy. that are not available in this country as much. Those are the skills they should go for and fill that gap. And those skills are, if you are to go for those skills, you will see clearly that there is gap and where you can fill in. So young people must take advantage of such skills. And that's why I say the manufacturing sector must work closely with the vocational centers to make sure these skills are properly taught. There was a time in this country that underwater welding, only 7 individuals can do it in this country.
In the entire country?
In the entire Nigeria.
Wow.
Yes. And they were heavily paid. Some went to Egypt and, of course, Libya to learn it. Underwater welding, especially for the oil sector. So, and there are those rare skills that people can learn and then you are skilled in it. And, of course, you have a good pay to play around with. So, and there are such skills everywhere.
Thank you very much, Victor. It's been a pleasure discussing with you, having this conversation. I know my viewer also learned quite a lot from it. I've been speaking with Victor Ainoko. He's a Senior Productivity Research Officer, National Productivity Center. Thank you so much for your time and contribution.
Thank you.
And thank you for being part of the program. Don't forget, Nigeria Today airs every weekday at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News24. You can also check out this episode and others on www.youtube.com/NTA News24 Hub. I am Victoria Clinton. Thanks for watching.